Please come to order for this regular meeting of the Planning Board on February 3rd. All rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. No, I'm not leaving. Just want to preserve heat. Okay, I will appoint Jessica as a voting member tonight. Mr. Madsen is still recovering, and Ms. Rowland couldn't be here tonight. So Jessica Warner will be a voting member tonight. Next on the agenda is the approval of the minutes of January 2nd, which is a site walk. I accept a motion to approve those minutes. Moved by Ms. DiPietro. Is there a second? Second by Ms. Lynn. Any discussion? The inside site walk, that's what we should call it. All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay. Next, the approval of the minutes of January 6, 2026, our regular meeting. Is there a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Moved by Ms. Cook. Is there a second? Moved by Ms. DiPietro. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Okay, next on the agenda is a public comment section. I would ask that if you have a comment on something on the agenda, to just, so if it's for the shoreland zoning, Stonewall Hollow, North Star Estates, Middle Ridge, or South High subdivision, if you might hold your comments until we actually get to that topic. Is there anybody else who would like to make a public comment to the board before we get started that's not on any of those topics? Go to the mic, please, name and address.
Joe Gallinari, Bridgton. I watched the application. I get a little information that might be helpful for the board. I watched last night's application for the library, and the gentlemen were speaking about their load issues, or whether they needed single-phase or three-phase power for the back of the library, and I thought I'd give you a little information that may help you for someone in the future. The library right now is a single-phase service, and quite some time ago, Tom Geiger asked me to wire the mini splits that went into the library a long time back, and I put a new service on the library, and that changed load. And then you guys will remember the library put an addition on, and with the addition comes a new elevator, and the elevator people are having trouble troubleshooting the elevator, and they're having a lot of trouble with that. And Al Glover asked me if I'd come down and help him out, so I went down and I got to the bottom of the trouble. There was a voltage issue to the library because the transformer was way up on Fowler Street. And Central Maine Power came down, did a line extension, single-phase line extension to the back of the library, and that's why you see that transformer that is there today, which will be helpful for what they're going to do in the future. They're going to do a new underground if they stay single-phase. I'm getting to why I'm here tonight that may help you guys in the future. Should they have needed three-phase is on Main Street, but three-phase is not on Church Street. That's where it would be very expensive should anybody come to you guys and need three-phase that is not on Main Street. And now I'm going to take you to revitalization. 86, 87, revitalization comes. That's when we get all the new street lights down Main Street. That's when CMP reconductors Main Street, and we go from a 2400 volt circuit to a 12470, 7200 volt circuit, and all new transformers come. That's when they run all new service drops off Main Street. And one of the ones they did was back by Rite Aid, Laverdia's, there was already a three-phase circuit that went to the back of the old grocery store, went up through to the bandstand, went in to feed the school, and then they went across the brook to refeed Depot Street, because Depot Street was fed from House of Pizza that went in by the old liquor store and fed that front grocery store. So those wires were pulled off Main Street. And then they went up by Bill Burnell's, or what is the Big Apple now.
Yeah.
And that primary goes underground, goes under Main Street, runs down the edge of Chalmers, and rises back up Bacon Street, goes overhead, fed the old Saunders Dowell Mill, and fed the old Dairy Queen. I tell you that whole thing because an obscene amount of money was spent to clean up all the wires on Main Street. And now when you guys get down Main Street, you'll see those three wires at the top of the pole. That's Hendrix. That Hendrix runs at the very top of the pole, and all the properties are all fed from the back when all this was done. And now there's been a couple of places that have snuck in. It wasn't evil, it just, all this stuff is forgotten. Down where the gastropub is, Huntress's old gas station, you'll see a service drop that goes from Key Bank to that building. That building, the old station, was fed from the back. And where Beth's is today, you'll see a service drop now going across Main Street to Beth's, which was fed from the back parking lot. I bring this up only for you guys to think about it in a workshop with all you've done to clean up Main Street. At one time, it was well known with the Line District that service drops were not to run across Main Street. And the meter department knew, when they were inspecting services, do everything you can to feed them from the back. So it's just a housekeeping issue. You guys got a full house tonight. A lot of people here, they want to get to a lot of stuff, not what Joey's talking about. But if you would maybe think about it at one of your workshops, because what's happened is it's lost to time. No one's remembering this, and pretty soon you'll see a service drop, and then a phone cable, and then you see a cable TV wire, and then if Fidium wants to run, pretty soon you get all this spaghetti all
So
back
we might want to think about a standard for anything relative to that district,
Yeah,
the districts on Main
you
Street.
should think about it, because if you go to the old Civil War, the Soldiers Monument, and you guys drive down Main Street tomorrow, all the way to Pondicherry, you'll see how clean it looks. There's very few service drops across Main Street, and it's just all getting lost to time.
Okay.
So.
Yeah.
Thank you. I might mention that Mr. Gallinari is a licensed electrician.
Oh, well, that wasn't
Thank you.
These poor guys could have gotten a mess if they needed three-phase for the library.
Okay.
And now I'll tell you a quick story, and then I'll keep small town
You gotta
story.
hurry, because
I'll be
we
quick,
got a
but
full
you got a full
agenda.
plate. So watching that library thing last night made me think of a cute story the library won't be proud that I tell this story, but when I was 10, there wasn't a lot to do in Bridgton in 1975. And other than spending hours and hours at the foot of the lake on the diving board, believe it or not, we used to get up on the edge of the library, and it was a challenge to walk around that lip to see if you could stay on that lip, and we would time each other. So that's probably not talking out of school too much, because kids today probably won't do that.
Hey,
You can't get them off TikTok.
You
So,
ain't wrong.
yeah,
just
you
a
got
cute,
it.
cute small town story. Now you have it.
Thank
Thank you, Joe.
Yeah.
Okay. Next on the agenda is a public hearing for the proposed shoreline zoning mapping changes, just as background and context for everybody here and on TV. The applicant for this petitioned us back in December, I believe. At that time, the board was not comfortable recommending that the petition changes go on the warrant, and we sent a recommendation to that effect to the select board. However, at that meeting, quite a bit of information was shared, and it was proposed at the December meeting that assuming certain data I think around 7 lots could be carved out that did not implicate issues for wildlife habitat. I think that was the primary concern. So the applicant has petitioned us once again and provided a new mapping and justification for that mapping, so that's what this public hearing is about. So I will open the public hearing. We'll hear first from the applicant and his agent, and or the agent and and the applicant if desired. And then if there's anybody that would like to speak to this, they are welcome to do so. And then the board will ask any questions. So if you could introduce yourself and just give us, please, reground us on the current state.
Yep. My name's Jed Scott. I'm from Sebago Technics, representing Bill Kavanaugh and Bob Holden from 41 Suckerbrook Road, the subject property. So following public comment and discussion from the previous planning board meeting in December, it was recommended that we provide a map with a more limited scope, and also showing that those lots are not implicated in the wading habitat area from the inland fisheries and wildlife map, and in order to indicate that we're removing the RP zone from those 7 or so lots and changing them to limited residential.
Okay, so it's actually now 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 lots or 7? Well, there's one lot that wraps around the others.
Yeah, there's 1, 2.
It's 6 full lots, and then it looks like there's a lot that wraps
Yeah.
around the others.
Yeah, I think it's 7 total. That's 7 tax map lots that are
Okay.
implicated.
Yep. All right, anything else you want to add?
I mean, we did provide some additional maps, just showing that there's no other resource protection items like steep slopes. What else was it? And the FEMA designated flood hazard areas are limited to the immediate shoreline, which is usual. Just that everything else seems to comply with lots in the limited residential district.
Okay. Is there anybody from, does the applicant himself wish to speak?
Good.
Okay.
Thank
Is there anybody from the audience here or the public that would like to speak on these shoreline zoning changes?
What are these shoreline zoning?
Could, you'll need to go to the mic if you have more questions. The shoreline zoning changes are off of Suckerbrook Road on the northeast side of Long Lake.
It's Moose Pond,
Moose
West
Pond,
Bridgton.
excuse me. What did I say? Long Lake? Yeah. Well, it is a long lake, but, sorry, Moose Pond. Before you get to the bridge on the northeast side of the middle basin. All right, anybody on the,
We do have somebody.
okay? Please
Yeah.
identify yourself.
My name's Patty Hegarty. We own the property at 65 Suckerbrook Road. So I'm fine with the changes that are proposed for along the shore there. And I just wanted to say at the December meeting, it came up, there are quote errors in the map. And we discussed the wetlands and the protections on those. And again, I'm okay with removing stuff along the shore, but I am concerned like what the follow-up is. I don't want it to get lost in the process. I don't know the town processes, that how the wetlands the documents will be correct, or the maps that will show the resource protection all the way around the wetlands that are state protected. So mostly I just wanted to go on record as I want to make sure that doesn't get dropped. I'm okay with the shoreland, but I don't know how it gets tracked then that,
Yeah.
say that the zoning or the document is updated to include resource protection for the wetlands, et cetera.
Yep, so you sent an email to me which got forwarded to the board. One of your questions is about how the error occurred. I mean, I think Colin Holm gave a good explanation, which was when the maps were crossed over, that got lost in the shuffle somehow. However, changing the big area would mean 14 other areas of town would change if we changed the 30 lots out of resource protection and to limited residential. So we may never know exactly how it happened, but that's probably a pretty good guess. In terms of who's in charge of the decision to update the land use code or not, the procedure is really anybody can make a proposal to change the land use code by submitting an application and petitioning the planning board. But most typically, for the land use code, proposals come from the code enforcement officer, community development director, or this board themselves, based on their experience or issues that come up during reviews. And in terms of this wetlands and resource protection areas, I think, and I don't want to misspeak, but Ms. Day, so if I do start speaking, come to the mic. Ms. Day is got on her docket to have the maps corrected, and that includes these areas that should not be classified as resource protection, having them go to limited residential. And I think Brenda has engaged somebody that can revise the maps for the entire town. There are other issues as well. Some of this is just because nothing's been remapped in a very long time. And what happens is when we get a review, if the board requests a wetland delineation, for instance, it may actually change the boundaries either tighter or broader than what's on the map. So we have a number of those that need to be integrated along with other things. And I believe Brenda's also working on making a wetland delineation across the town, if we can get that budgeted. Is that correct? I don't want to promise something that we're not.
So there's a couple things. What I'm waiting for right now, as I sent a memo to you guys, is we discussed at the last meeting on this, when we changed our shoreline zoning, our resource protection areas changed as far as the written part of the ordinance. So the maps didn't get changed, but our write-up did. So we need to figure out if we want to change the language in the land use ordinance to match what it used to be for resource
Right.
protection, or if we want to fix the maps to match what our ordinance actually says now. So that's a workshop that I've requested as a priority, because I don't want it to get lost either. So as soon as we have our next workshop, I'm hoping that that's on the agenda to discuss at least which way we want to go. because I do have somebody ready to do the maps if we go that way. But if we're not gonna change the maps and we're gonna change the language, then we need to start working on that,
Yeah,
probably sooner than later.
Thank you for that reminder.
Yeah.
So, okay.
Just one follow-up question on that, just for my concerns of protecting the wetlands. Even if, say, the maps were updated to the current code, my understanding is that because of the state regulations, that regardless what the map shows, it is protected 250 feet, not like what limited residential is, which is less. Is that accurate?
Yeah,
That
I'm not-
even if the map did,
I'm not sure I can answer that question off the top of my head, but our guiding light is the ordinance, which must be approved by the Maine Department of Environmental Protection. And if there are any additional state regulations that are beyond the guidelines set by Maine Department of Environmental Protection, for instance, from NRPA or another state division, then we need to be able to flesh those out at a meeting to determine if they're needed, and then if they're needed, the applicant has to abide by them. So it's not necessarily a cut and dried answer all the time.
and I guess the last question I have is that this workshop, again, I'm unfamiliar with the town processes, like who participates in that? Is that like LEA would be a part of that, or is that like?
The workshops, anybody can participate, anybody can come to them, it's up to the board whether or not the public speaks at these. We would clearly probably enjoy having Ms. LEA come, Colin Holm, or his designate to advise us. And there are times when the board allows only a certain amount of public comment because they actually need to do the work of discussing how to change the ordinance, but generally we allow some level of public comment there.
And how would Colin know about the workshop, or how would anybody, is that published on the planning board?
Whenever the land use ordinance is changed, there must be, or whenever there's a proposal to change it, there must be a public hearing held by the planning board. Public hearings are advertised, and that's generally how people find out about it. Of course, people also go on to the website for the planning board and for any notices, and can see that there's a hearing.
So the workshops all have agendas and also are open to the public?
Right. So agendas are always available to the public. There is a sign up on one of the pages. I don't know which it is, but you can reach out to Laura Lee. And you can sign up for any of the notices from the town, which is for any meeting that's held in the town. So, and you'll get something to your email telling you when and where the meeting is.
And typically our workshop schedule is the third Tuesday is a workshop, and the room is never this full, so it would be great to have
Yes,
folks in the room
I
for
would
those.
encourage people that see issues with the land use ordinance to come to the board and write up a suggestion or a proposal.
Or just come to learn more.
Yeah, or come to learn more. And just to follow through, once we've had the public hearing, this board then is required to make a recommendation to the select board whether or not they should place the amendment to the land use code on a future warrant to be voted on by the town. They can choose to agree with our recommendation or not. That's their job. Our job is just to give them the recommendation and why. Another question here is if the land use ordinance is not updated, should there be some indication directly on the zoning map to show the wetlands are IWWH so there's no future misinterpretations of the protections? Again, I don't want to speak out of school, but I think we would have to have something, and we probably do have something already in the ordinance, but if we don't, we would have to have something that directs us to be sure that we evaluate wetlands. or that we know where they are. So I can't fully answer that without doing a little bit more study.
Thank you for answering those.
Generally, the written word overrides the maps. Is that correct, Brenda? Yeah. Okay.
Not necessarily, because in this situation, the maps are
Yeah,
overruling
right.
for DEP.
So do you have any other questions before we move on?
No, I don't.
Okay, thank you for your questions and interest.
Yeah, thank you for your time, yeah.
Does the board have any questions or comments concerning the change or for the applicant? All right, so just to summarize, go back to my original. All right, so we have before us a request to amend the maps for six or seven lots. I'll be sure of it when I write up the recommendation by looking at the listing. To change the map from the resource protection district to the limited residential district based upon evidence that indicates those lots are not described by the requirements of resource protection. In other words, they fit into the description of a limited residential district and not a resource protection district. And the reason for making the change is not just for it to be accurate, but for the applicant to be able to suitably develop their property as others would be able to within the limited residential district. So if there are no further questions, I'd accept a motion to recommend to the select board that the petition to change the map for the lots described in this petition, that we recommend they place it on a future warrant for the town to vote on.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Cook. Is there a second? Any second? Second by Ms. Lynn. Any discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. 5-0. Okay, I think you're set now. I can't commit to when. I mean, I don't know if you can get it in for the June meeting, but you can try. I'll try to get this letter off. Let's see, there's a meeting next week. Normally, they've already set the agenda for next week. So the letter will go to them after they've set the agenda, so 3 weeks from. I'll write it up so that they can have it for the fourth Tuesday in January.
And will the application materials be the same? Do I just need or do we just need the proposed map?
I think I will just work with Ms. Day to make sure that I don't know that you need everything that's there, you might just need the map. I'll work with Ms. Day to make sure the package is suitable for the select board, and I'll have her work with you if there's anything
think all they'll need is the map and the write-up from you.
Yeah.
The explanation.
Mhm.
And then probably the write-up, the application write-up that he's submitted. Okay, if we need anything else, we'll let you know.
Yep.
Should it be submitted? So the board's gonna agree with it, and then do they need to submit the change?
I think you have to do the request, and then, we probably should send that to Ashley, just because she does the.
Right,
And I can.
and then we can
Ashley
figure out whether,
And when it will be and all that.
okay,
Yeah.
that sounds good. All right, I think we're done with that item then. Thank you. Next on the agenda is 5B, Old Business, Stonewall Hollow, map 30, lot 14C1, findings of fact and conclusions of law. I did receive some changes, primarily, well, all typos from Ms. DiPietro, thank you. I'll just go through those. On page 1, paragraph 4, the one that starts on January 6th, says the board held a meeting to additional materials. It should say to review the additional materials. So I've written that in. On page 2, item 4, is the access to the duplex as a road or a drive aisle, is there a difference? It's technically a road, so what it will say here is the site will also include a 600-foot paved road as an access drive. Okay. Makes sense, Brenda? Yep. Page 3, stormwater permit from DEP is as SLOTA for projects greater than 20 acres, so I just crossed SLOTA out. I think I just got confused. I don't think I called it SLOTA anywhere else in there.
No.
Page 4, item K. My read of item K says, this is where I was a little bit confused, is page 4. Item K says proposed 6-lot residential subdivision will not result in any impact to a river, stream, or wetland. Appropriate setbacks and proper and adequate stormwater management are proposed by the applicant. So your comment, Kathy, is will not result in any impacts to river or stream and minor impact to wetlands. Did I inadvertently, is there any wetland impact, or there
There were
is?
2 small areas of wetland
Okay,
impact.
so
were
that should be
cited in the
added.
drawings.
Okay, so what I will say, will not in river, or stream, comma, and acceptable minor impact to the wetland. Does that make sense? So we'll
Yeah.
read, will not result in any impact to a river or stream, comma, and acceptable minor impacts to the wetland.
Right, yeah, there's an exhibit, wetland fill area exhibit, which is one of the drawings that we can
Okay.
cite there.
Is that in the subdivision plan on the drawings?
It is.
And then, page 9, number 1. So these are the conditions. A waiver is provided for a breach. It says in the 5-foot perimeter buffer, it should be 25 feet. Okay. Does anybody else have any comments, changes, concerns? Nope. If so, then I'd accept a motion for final approval of the preliminary subdivision application known as Stonewall Hollow, with the changes just noted.
I so move.
Moved by Ms. DiPietro, is there a second? Second by Maggie Lynn. Any further discussion? All in favor, please raise your hand. Thank you. Thanks for those comments, Kathy. I worked on it rather quickly, so hopefully. Alrighty, next on the agenda is North Star Estate subdivision. This is on Ohio Ridge Road, map 13, lot 52E. This is a pre-application sketch plan. So this is not submitted for any approval at this point in time. A subdivision sketch plan is basically the application. We just have a sketch and some explanation of what's proposed, and the applicant will go over the concept with us, and our role is to provide non-binding advice to the applicant, and for him to ask questions of us concerning the standards, so that they can then go back and put together a preliminary subdivision application. Notices were sent. The applicant has standing. We're not looking for a complete application here, or a public hearing, or a site walk. It's just a sketch plan. For members of the public that are interested in this application, tonight is primarily a discussion between the board and the applicant. When I would encourage anybody that has advice for the applicant to just provide it to them offline if possible, or if it could be done reasonably here, you're welcome to ask the board or ask the applicant. But this is not a public hearing. There'll be no decision made on this application tonight. We don't even essentially have an application. So please just keep that in mind. So with that, if the applicant could just come and, or the applicant's agent, please introduce yourself and where you live, and give us the overview.
Okay, thank you, Madam Chair, and thank you, board members, for having us here tonight. My name is Bill Garish. I work for Sebago Technics in Bridgton, and I'm here representing True North Builders, who are proposing this subdivision. And I will say that Ryan Morrill and Kevin Dubriel from True North Builders, the two owners, are here as well. They're in the back if you want to raise your hands. And I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any questions that you have that I can't answer. So Kevin and Ryan recently, through True North Builders, purchased 19 acres of land on the Ohio Ridge Road. It's identified on tax map 13 as lot 52E, and it is zoned in the rural neighborhood district. There is a small area in the northwest corner, which would be at the bottom left of that drawing, that does get clipped by the limited residential district. There's a wetland, mapped wetland across the road that part of the property falls within that 250-foot shoreland zone area. The site is currently undeveloped. It has been logged in the past, but it is currently wooded with some remnants of the logging roads and so forth. It is, the slopes are fairly gradual on the site. They range mostly from about 1% to 5%. Most of the slopes go towards Ohio Ridge Road, kind of towards that northwest corner. The back part of the site it is kind of at the high point of the watershed, so the back part of the site does slightly drain in the other direction. So the north part of the site would actually drain to Beaver Pond, which is just to the north of the site, and then the south end, just the very end about where the hammerhead is, or the double hammerhead at the end, would actually drain towards Moose Pond. And then, I'm sorry, Woods Pond would be the pond to the south. So and you can see in the, I guess in the southerly end of the site, there are 3 little purple areas shown on the map. Those are mapped wetland areas. They total about 1,600 square feet. Again, the property is kind of at the top of the watershed. Those are the only areas on the site that had hydric soils and wetland vegetation. Most of the soils on the site from the county soils map are mapped as scary soils, which would be moderately well drained. There are a couple of areas that are mapped with poorly drained soils or somewhat poorly drained soils, mostly up in the southeast corner and kind of in that northwest corner as well. There are no very poorly drained soils mapped on the site. And the subdivision is proposed with 16 residential lots for single-family homes. Excuse me. The project is proposed, or we're showing the project in 2 phases. You can see different colors, I guess, on the left and the right. So on the left side would be phase 1. It would include about a little over 900 feet of roadway with the hammerhead turnaround. And there would be 8 lots proposed in phase 1. Phase 2 would propose another 8 lots and an extension of the road of about 800 feet. And we did include, with the 60-foot right-of-way proposed for the road, we did extend a proposed right-of-way or a future right-of-way, a reserved area. Typically, we would recommend providing a right-of-way to the end of the property for, at some point in the future, if there's ever a need to access the property on the south end of the site, the right-of-way would be there, or the area would be there to do that. So that's the area, kind of the bluish area shown at the end. So phase 1 is intended to function as a compliant subdivision meeting all the standards on its own. So most of the lots are in the 40 to 45,000 square foot range. Some of the lots you can see at the far south end and right on Ohio Ridge Road are larger. They're in the 55 to maybe 60,000 square foot range. The road is proposed to be 20 feet wide with 2 feet shoulders, all designed towards town standards. The lots are proposed to have private wells, private septic systems. Since the sketch plan application was submitted, the applicant has had test pits done by a licensed site evaluator. who found passing test pits on all the lots. We're just roughly showing a couple of proposed stormwater management areas. The project site being within watersheds of two great ponds. We would meet the phosphorus standards that are required, as well as the flooding standards for pre- and post-development flows. And that would ultimately be done by a combination of BMPs, is what we anticipate. And then, of course, we'd provide an erosion control plan meeting all the town standards. We will provide an estimate of traffic generated by the proposed development. Again, since we submitted the sketch plan application, we have done a site distance survey out there. You can see that the road on the sketch plan was a little bit straighter. We did bring the entrance to the road a little bit to the west. There is a fairly sharp curve on Ohio Ridge Road. The grades are pretty good. They go up at a gradual slope, but in order to get sight distance, the speed limit on Ohio Ridge Road is posted at 40 miles an hour. So to get 400 feet of sight distance, we did have to shift the entrance down a little bit. Didn't really impact the number of lots or the areas or anything like that. And that's it in a nutshell, I guess. I would open it up to any questions or comments that you might have.
I'll start with Kathy. So just, this is, I hope the best use of the time is just the board will maybe in particular provide advice on, what they hope to see in the application without doing a, we're not here to do a detailed review necessarily.
Right. I think our standards are pretty clear about what should be provided in terms of both phosphate and stormwater design, what we reviewed, all the test pit information which you now have, any boundaries for like the limited residential should be on the next set of plans.
Sure.
Aesthetic, cultural, natural values, financial and technical capacity. I'm not a financial person, but I'm a water person.
Yep.
Any water wetlands reports that you have from the mapping would be most
We do have a
useful.
wetland report, yep.
Good. What else do we need? Make sure that you address all of the lot sizes and dimensions to make it easier for us to review those. Monuments, street signs, and street design, so that those work. Technically, we have sidewalks, but I'm not sure.
You don't think that's really left up to the board in that situation? It doesn't seem appropriate for sidewalks. I mean, they could be within, doesn't seem appropriate in this kind of subdivision, but
No.
you might want to address that.
Okay.
Please discuss it. Water supply would be something that you would want to discuss. Any information that you can bring from the Maine Geological Survey, well water data, indicating that there's probability that we will have water. And fire protection is another
Certainly.
major hurdle.
Yep. Yeah, and just for your information, we will address this, but we did review the water wells in that area, and they do seem to have very good yields, so we will certainly put that information in there.
Okay?
Yep.
That's what I have.
Thank you.
Okay. Jessica, any major questions or advice?
I had the same question about the wells, the water usage in that area. So yeah, the more information you can provide for us
Yep,
and the people around. the
sure,
better.
yep.
Maggie?
No questions, just a note, and this came up last night too, the tax map does not actually list lot 52E, it lists 52C twice.
Yes, I just saw that.
So that'll just come up
Yeah, it's on the
it's not
tax
your,
card, it's
yeah,
52E, but.
it's not your,
Yeah,
but just for us to know that.
Yeah, so when you submit the maps, it's gonna be, especially if you use the GIS maps and they're not, they're not been corrected, it's gonna be important to point that out, so we,
yeah,
But
you
it's
don't
the
get
lot
confused.
further to the east, is that correct?
it is, yeah,
Okay.
yeah. It was 38 acres, it was split up into two in 2013 and
That makes
intended to be
sense.
52C
Yeah, yeah.
and 52E, yeah.
Gotcha.
Okay. Angie, how about you?
Just when you turn the application and make sure you've got that financial capacity. And is there going to be an HOA in this subdivision?
There is, yeah.
So is everybody going to have their own well, or is it going to be like a community water system?
Everybody's going to have their own well.
Okay,
yeah.
that's all.
Okay. Yeah, my only comment, in addition to what the board members have said, is it's really important to have a full and complete application. If you do intend to ask for waivers, please be sure that there's good justification for that, and that's explained in the ordinance. I'm not recommending any waivers, to be honest, for this application, but of course, the board will entertain them, and have in the past. In terms of landscaping, I don't know what your plans are in terms of the frontage of that area, because you have some stormwater features there. I would encourage, I'm assuming you're gonna have to do quite a bit of cutting there. I would encourage some landscaping in the front. The other thing is that there is, for this type of subdivision, a required 25-foot perimeter buffer that can't be really altered. I'm not sure, looking at your maps, whether the stormwater intrudes into that, or whether there's some potential modification there. But I would certainly recommend some landscaping along the frontage there. I think it would also give, not only would it look better aesthetically, it would give a little bit of privacy to the homes that get built there. And then just a fairly clear indication of, kind of in the phases, what's the trigger or the threshold that will have you go from phase 1 to phase 2, and the timing of that. It's quite possible, due to potential interest as well as just understanding the site, that we might ask for a public hearing and also a site walk. So if we do a site walk, we typically will want the driveway area staked out and the lots staked out, and the general location of any other features like the stormwater. And obviously, we're not there yet, but just so you're aware.
Okay.
I would just echo Kathy's comments about any wetland surveys or delineations, and making sure that in terms of all the state departments, MDIFW, the one for the plants, MNAP or whatever it is, I can't remember right now.
Natural Areas Program.
Yeah. The Historical Preservation Commission, that you have all of that, pretty well sorted. And, we always prefer to be able to see their answer and not make it a condition of approval. And I think that's it. Do you have any questions of us?
No, I don't have any specific questions at this time. I don't know if Kevin and Ryan do, or good at the moment.
Nope, those are the owners back there, okay. All right. I think that's it then.
Okay, all right, well, we appreciate you having us, and
Thank you.
we'll see you soon.
we'll look forward to getting your application. Oh, just one real quick thing is, there was a letter from an abutter, I assume you got it, but
We did,
uh,
yeah.
the board does like for the applicant to take the time to address abutter issues
Yep, and we certainly will.
with their own evidence or,
Yep,
or changes.
yep, absolutely.
All right?
All right, thank you.
Great. All right, next on the agenda is Middle Ridge Road subdivision, Middle Ridge Road, map 14, lot 8. I'm going to make a big assumption that most of the people in this room are here for that subdivision. Could I get a show of hands, maybe? Okay. Yeah, I figured you are. So, we'll get rolling, but just sort of jump the gun here a little bit, is if we determine the application is complete, I'm going to propose a public hearing. Okay, so we are on Middle Ridge subdivision, Middle Ridge Road, map 14, lot 8. The applicant has standing, the applicant has sent notices. Before we get really rolling, is there anybody who needs to recuse themselves from this review? Okay. Do we feel that the application is complete or substantially complete? I would say it is, but I think there are some things that are missing that will need to be added. So is there consensus on that from the board?
Yes.
Okay. So the next, so we've received a number of comments from the public on this. Many of them revolve around environmental concerns. I know some of them came in hot off the press starting in the afternoon. I hope the board has had some time to digest them. I would recommend to the public in the future, please send your comments in. Please avoid sending them in the day of the review, because we have often 4 or 5 items on the agenda, and when stuff comes in at the last minute, it just makes it difficult for us to digest it and be able to ask intelligent questions about it. As well, those go to the applicant, and the applicant, we usually request to be able to address them. So I just ask in the future if that could be done. And with that, given the interest in all the letters and some of the concerns raised, I would propose that we hold a public hearing on this application.
I'll second that.
Okay, so I'll make that a motion. Is there a second? Okay, there's 2 seconds. I think Kathy got her hand up first. Any discussion? All in favor? Jimmy will get to speak at some point. The next thing is to determine the date. So the first March meeting or the second March meeting? First March meeting. Okay, so tentatively, we would hold the public hearing.
That's Monday, just so you know. You want to do it at the regular meeting?
I'd rather do it at the regular meeting or do it on the 17th.
That would be within 30 days, though, of the 17th.
Well, unless the applicant agrees to something different.
The 17th of.
I would really, if we can, stick to Tuesdays, because I know that's when people can make it.
Yeah.
The 17th of.
March.
So,
What dates do we have here?
so Mr. Seymour,
Yes.
and this might be beneficial, actually, for the application, because I do think there's going to be some requests from the board tonight, just so we can have a full public hearing without getting into review. would you be amenable to a March 17th public hearing, which is the third Tuesday in?
Is the earlier one, March 3rd meeting full?
The March 3rd meeting, is the March 3rd meeting full?
No, not my
We
stuff.
can pick a couple of yours up and have a public hearing then.
Well, I know there are a few things.
Can we wait on that decision until I understand what the board may be looking for?
Okay, that's fine, we can wait on that. I also think it might be useful to have a site walk, given all the comments about the environmental comments. I know there's snow on the ground, but we're all from New England, we all have winter boots, I think. And if we do it, I'd bring your ski poles so we don't go dipping into anything. So is there consensus to have a site walk?
I'd like a site walk, but I'm not sure that having it in the winter is the most appropriate time, since a lot of the concern is about vernal pools and wetlands and amphibians, and none of those are gonna be out.
Things like that.
I'll have to wait.
Go ahead, no, go ahead.
We did have a wetland scientist look at this lot in September. We did provide that information today to the Maine State biologist, who did comment back. Unfortunately, I'm sure this board has not had an opportunity to look at that, even though it did respond back to the town with regards to vernal pools and depressions that could.
So the wetland work's been done. I know where Kathy's going on some of the other stuff, and she makes a good point. I think we certainly could do the site walk to see
You can see.
general
Based
location and
on
all.
what I understand the public comments are, you can see what you'll want to see on the lot. There is access down to the open wetland area from this lot, and when I get in my presentation, I'll explain the rest.
Okay. And it doesn't mean that we won't end up having a second site walk later, so depending on everything. So do we wish to do a site walk or not? I see shaking the head yes here. It could end up being followed up at a later time by something else. All right, so maybe a site walk we can have. We're pretty flexible on when we can have it. So I'll move to have a site walk. Is there a second? Second by Kathy, DPHO. Any discussion? All in favor? 5-0. We'll figure out the date later. All right, so we've got that. So for the public that are here, because we've called a public hearing, we're really not going to have the public speak at any length tonight. When we have the hearing, you'll have ample time to express any support, concerns, and other issues. So I would ask that we try to do that tonight. The board is not going to do an in-depth review tonight. However, they are going to the applicant's going to give us an introduction, and the board is going to provide advice on what will make for a productive public hearing and potentially review. So the floor is yours, finally.
Thank you. Good evening, board.
Wait.
I can take questions or advice too, outside of, or other than here, so.
So, just for the audience, this is Royce Lopez here. He's the applicant's son. He's representing the project tonight. And I'm sure he can, if you want to either talk to him on the side, or he can provide an email if you want to send him information. I would, or share concerns with him. I would make sure that if you have significant concerns relative to the standards, that you'll also send those to the board. But you are always free to talk to the applicant. We can't, but you can, off to the side. Okay. All right, now the floor is yours.
Thank you. Good evening, board members. My name is Jim Seymour, civil engineer, project manager with Sebago Technics located here in Bridgton. Representing tonight NTGM Investments LLC, or as the chairman has pointed out, an entity owned by Mark Lopez. His son Royce is here in the audience tonight to answer any questions regarding the building program or what their development interests are. I'm here to discuss the site and the subdivision itself. This is located on Lot 8, Map 14, within the RN zone, consists of 9.61 acres. We have 5 lots we're presenting this evening. One lot, as you can see on that plan I've outlined in pink, that currently has a building permit for a duplex from Mr. Lopez, which is under construction. The other 4 lots are located to the southeast of that first lot. We have had wetlands delineated by Don Murphy. We do have a letter of his wetland delineation dated September 28th, which I can share with the board. It won't be this evening, but I can share with the board after this meeting.
Just could you share the full wetland delineation report and not just his summary, please?
All I have from Don is a letter outlining what he delineated out there. So I will gladly share that with the town.
If we could ask him for that, please, that would be good. And also his certification, which I read the letter, I didn't see his certification on it. So that was something I was going to mention.
We have identified test pits as conducted by John Weissman on all the proposed lots. They are to be located on the roadside edge of each lot they would be located behind, the wells would be located against Middle Ridge Road. The septic systems would be located down gradient. This site slopes at about 4 or 5% down to the edge of the open wetland area of about 4 to 5%, so there's a nice easy slope going down over that hill. The area that you see in olive green in the back is the open swamp or shrub wetland. The area in green, the next one going left to right, is the forested wetlands, which is a dense of hemlocks and firs. The next green hatched area is the proposed phosphorus buffers we've provided on each lot. And then as you look there, there's kind of a grayish column. Those are the building envelopes for each of those lots. The green area represents what they could do for potential clearing or whatever they want to do on those lots.
So the green, where's the potential clearing?
The potential clearing limit is here.
Yeah.
Mr. Lopez has cut this lot, and that cut line is approximately like that right now. There is no interest from Mr. Lopez as he builds these to go any further into these lots, but that doesn't mean the independent lot owner could not. This area here, which we will pin, delineates what is necessary for the phosphorus buffer.
And just for clarification, are the grayish, greenish, whatever they are, those strips?
Those strips are the allowable building envelopes.
So that's the 10,000 square feet of,
The 10,000 square feet would be a combination of driveway and house location. That's
okay.
up to the individual
All right,
to determine.
got it, yep. Sorry for the interruption.
Mr. Lopez and Royce can get into the details if necessary, is proposing to do a duplex on each lot. Each lot consists of 1.84 to 2.24 acres in lot size. We have shown that each lot has over 40,000 square feet of buildable area. This property is inclusive upon a swap of property with a butter named Mac. The orange area will be going to Mac, and an area on the side. This darker area here will be going to Mr. Lopez. That's an equal swap of land, so there's no change to the lot area. That is in the process and almost executed in the next couple days. We've also shown around the perimeter, as required by subdivision, a 15-foot wide buffer around the periphery of the subdivision. We plan on each lot having its own driveway off Middle Ridge. We have provided a phosphorus computation which shows that This goes to Long Lake, and the allowed phosphorus budget is 0.19 pounds per year. Our proposals with the buffer and drift edges on the homes will only release 0.17, so the standard has been met. We have requested waivers for landscape, stormwater for the flooding, since we are not imposing a road or any kind of public improvements, and a hydrogeologic study which would require nitrate evaluation. I think since the beginning of this, there's been concerns about the type of homes being constructed on this. As I mentioned, NTGM is Mr. Lopez, and his goal is to build, I won't say affordable housing, but something that people can afford. He's building this in the lower range of the market, the anticipation of these being for first-time owners. These would be likely in the 380 to range for price, which is below the typical market we're seeing now for homes. The other item that I think is the one that we've seen the most comments from has to do with the location of some heron nesting on this particular wetland, and I have a plan. I actually help the board a little bit. I do have a smaller, that I can share with the board.
I think we have that in the application, but.
Don't think you have this one. It may have been on something you saw today, but.
We got it, but I don't know if
Yep.
everybody's seen it.
Just so it's the same as I presented.
And I don't know if the abutters have seen it, so.
No, I don't, again, this is all due to correspondence we've had today with the state biologist. So the area, I'm gonna step over here, can they hear me okay? This is our proposed subdivision here. This is Middle Ridge Road. This is Harrison Road, 117. This curls up, this is Middle Ridge, curls up like that. The heron nesting area is located in this open water area here. And I do believe you all saw some letters and photographs from abutters. If you stand here at the culvert crossing and look out, you can see some of those nesting areas. Our proximity to those nesting areas is 1,600 feet plus from the nearest point of development on our property. That far exceeds the requirement.
Can you turn that so that they can see too? I know the board was here, but you were on the other side. You're kind of blocking it on this side.
I'm a blocker, I'm a good boy, it happens.
Just so that the public can see it as well. Thank you.
Again, this is Middle Ridge, this is the area where the herons are nesting, and this is our development. This is the piece of open area, but this is the area where the nesting is taking place. The distance here to that nesting area is approximately 1,600 feet, more than a quarter of a mile. We do have a letter from IF&W that does not raise any interest, or not interest, but any concerns with the proximity of our development next to that nesting area. And we've also followed up with more, the report for wetlands. Again, that all came in this afternoon, so I apologize that the board does not have that information, but they had no further concerns with regards to vernal pools, the heron nesting, or they had requested in a previous letter that the property line, because they own the property immediately to the north of us, they were a butter. So they had requested that make sure that we did not cut onto any of their property, and we acknowledged that we're keeping right now a 20-foot buffer for cutting on that property, even though the town requires 15. So I believe we have addressed many of their comments, but their investigation report analysis is still ongoing. That said, I know the board probably will have some comments, concerns with regards to that, but we feel that this is an adequate piece of property for what we're proposing for development. It follows the subdivision ordinance as far as what's allowed, but we're here this evening to hear what the board may request.
Okay, Kathy?
Few comments. First, I don't have a set of plans that has elevations on it, at least not the big ones.
Okay.
Yeah, ditto for that. That was one of my comments.
So that was something that, and on drawing C-100.
Kathy,
Sorry.
could you get the mic closer and
Yeah,
just
I
speak
can.
up?
On drawing C100, it says that the phosphorus calculations are based on a footprint of 1,092 square feet, a 30-foot by 34-foot building. Is that, the entire duplex is 30
Yes.
by 34, so
Yes,
they're small?
that's the structure.
That is
Yes.
the structure?
Yes.
Okay. Because when I looked at the test pit information, it looked as though if you scaled the test pits, they looked like they were twice that size, 30 by 60.
No? Everybody, yeah, okay.
Okay.
Bryce is the one that's with his father building though, so he knows firsthand. I think the plan that you see from the site evaluator is a generic building,
Okay.
so it's not scaled on his drawing.
So the plan is that somewhere on the plans, there will be an indication that no outbuildings or garages or anything else will be built unless we go back and reevaluate.
Yeah, I think we've allowed an allowance, to your point, for building structures and for driveways. So we can break that down, a little bit more to see if there is any residual impervious that may be left, but we've accounted for most of that.
We've already mentioned wetlands report, subsurface calculations. Back over here. Water supply, any information on wells in that general area? I know there's a lot of
Have you drilled a well yet?
groundwater.
When will you be drilling a well?
Next spring.
Next spring?
Well, this coming spring.
Okay.
This coming spring.
We can assess, we don't believe there'll be any issue with water, given the water table is obviously very high down in the swamp area there.
Right, you just don't want that coming into the
No,
well.
no, and of course, that would be sealed anyway with a casing. I'm not familiar with if there are any available geological well data in that area, but we can take a look to see what might be available on the Maine geological well drilling site for
Okay.
nearby. They are planning to dig a well or drill a well later this spring, but we won't have that data, obviously, for the next year.
Sure. Fire protection?
Fire protection, we're within a mile of a hydrant on Dugway.
That was
So
my
I believe
question.
that's acceptable to the fire chief. And that note is on the plan as well.
Oh, sorry, I missed that one.
That's all right. There's a lot of stuff on there.
I'm looking forward to reviewing the stormwater.
So Kathy, I have a
Yep.
question for you, if you don't mind.
Sure.
Because a waiver was asked for the stormwater calculations. Are,
Yes, and that was,
Yeah,
so I can be
please.
clarified, that was for the quantity, not for the quality. Our focus was on the quality, and given that there is no road infrastructure, and the fact that we want to try to limit additional impacts with stormwater ponds and things like that, we just felt that that was no different than a single-family home for what we're proposing. So it's a very limited amount of impact on each lot, and the fact that we have additional buffers and we are treating the roofs, we feel that the runoff issue is very minor.
Yeah,
I'm
so-
comfortable with as long as we have drip edge filters and we have.
okay, so I wouldn't, yeah,
Yeah.
because we can't make that decision until
After the public
we,
hearing.
at tonight.
Yeah.
But I want, given that Kathy is an engineer who has experience in this, significant experience, I wanted to ask. I would make one comment that I didn't see any, sorry to interrupt Kathy, but while you're on this
Right ahead.
topic, I didn't see any narratives for the municipal regulations, which are in Section 7 of the subdivision regs. And, I would just point you to the stormwater-related item in that. Well, first I would say, it would be most helpful for review for the public if we actually have a narrative, not only on the statutory review criteria, but on the additional review criteria which are imposed by the municipality. I would just point you to, I'll find it. So that's section V67, item T, surface drainage. It would be useful that you address all 4 of those items, including if there are, any drainage features being put on there between lots or behind the, to one area of the property. If you take a look at what that says, if you think anything additional is needed, I would encourage that to be submitted. Okay, Kathy, keep going.
And kindly explain to me why you would want the waiver for the nitrate plume analyses?
Well, first, we have not, based on the size and scale of this, we have never been required to do this. We've received waivers from the town before, but the fact is that these are long linear lots, and the flow of groundwater and surface geology goes from top to bottom. So there is quite a substantial distance that this would have to go. The standard is meeting at the property line. All the topography and runoff travel in this direction, and that is several hundred feet. So we feel that once that nitrate plume goes 100 feet, it's going to meet the 10 milligrams per liter. Then it's going to dissipate very quickly once it hits the forested wetland, and further dissipate once it hits the rest of the wetlands. So we don't feel that it is necessary, given that these are long linear lots and that flow path is going to be very long, and they are down gradient of our wells, and there are no other wells between us and the receiving water body. Not to mention that it's very difficult and expensive to conduct those studies. They're in the range of $5,000 to $10,000.
Right, but you also do understand that you have a, limiting to groundwater in your septic.
Well,
I would just to not go too far, I would encourage showing that the hydrogeological letter stating there won't be impact. I think that while we have given a waiver before, this is a little larger in terms of dwelling units than the prior ones. There is great concern from abutters, and there's nothing like the proof is in the pudding. So that would be,
If I can, we have provided you with test pit data that shows the limiting factor for groundwater from 16 to 20 inches, which is well above the required state mandate for a septic system. This letter would have to come from a geologist. It's not acceptable from an engineer. So we would have
Correct.
to engage a geologist.
correct.
Royce?
You want to approach the mic, Royce? I realize it costs more, but I think it could be well worth it.
Before he speaks, I just want to ask Jim, I'm sure you saw the letter from LEA and what they're requesting from you guys as well, right?
I don't know if I've actually, have not seen that letter.
They are asking for you to undertake a wetland survey of the property if one has not already been done. The existing wetlands shown on the map appear to be from the National Wetlands Inventory, which was done years ago.
No, they
We
were
did
actually.
the survey.
The
Okay.
survey was conducted.
Okay.
Yeah, again, I guess what I'm used to on surveys is actually seeing some sort of depiction of where the wetlands are in measurements, in case that they have changed over time, and there's essentially a one-paragraph description with an imposed signature on it, so I gotta believe he walked the property, and there would hopefully be more information on the wetlands item, which is what we've asked for. Go ahead, Royce, for,
Yeah, in response to the hydrogeo survey, it's another $4,000 or $5,000 that drives up the cost of the units. Our goal for these units is to get them to a price point where if someone's paying $1,500, $2,000 a month in rent, they could take out a mortgage, buy one of these, use that money to pay down the mortgage, gain equity in the house instead of just paying that for rent each month, and then they could have their own place.
These are going to be rental units or?
No, ma'am. Nope.
I
They're gonna
mean,
be,
I respect what you're trying to do. I'm not sure that and I know all the pennies add up, but I'm not sure as concerns the scope of the project and what it will ultimately cost to build that, I would certainly be more comfortable having the absolute proof. It's not that I think that Mr. Seymour's judgment is not good judgment, but having the evidence is, I think in this case, would be very useful. So that's my opinion.
Do we ask that from everybody that?
No, but this board doesn't set precedent. We go
Right.
on individual basis. So, and we should be very careful about waivers.
I just would like to point out that each duplex would have a total of 4 bedrooms. And if this were any other 80,000 square foot lot in town, even the single family with 4 bedrooms, there wouldn't be a hydrogeologic
Right.
analysis done.
No,
No, that I'm comfortable.
but you're talking about 10 dwelling units here, and usage of essentially 10 dwelling units in 5 structures, all in a row, fairly close together. So that's where I am. Sounds like that's where Kathy is. I don't know where the rest of the board is, but certainly more in-depth explanation will be needed. And maybe this is kind of dumb, but because of the flow going in this direction, I do, and these are just about 100 feet here.
They actually go this direction.
Okay, this direction, then in that case, I think about these lots back here.
Well, there won't be any lots back there. That's all resource protection, but that's a massive wetland. There can't be any lots.
Well, but somebody still owns that property.
The birds at this point, but.
Somebody is an owner of the property.
Yeah, but it would, again, I hear what you're saying. It's just not, it's a little unusual given again, we feel this is a small development. And again, I'll make the
But
statement.
that's, I mean.
I understand. But it is a burden where we're trying to keep this
So
affordable.
Angie.
Can I ask
Yeah,
how
go
much
ahead.
does it cost to engage a geologist?
You said 5 to 10.
We,
said 5,000.
our experience has been the minimal of 4,000 to 5,000, but we have not engaged with one for some time. So we would have to get a quote from the geologist to figure out what a true hydrogeologic study would be. We have had quotes from other subdivisions, more lots, that's been easily into the 20,000s. So it has to do with, there's a model program that's used. They have to go and make assessments of the soils and then the location of the septic systems, run that through. It has to be done by a geologist.
Right.
And there is part of the issue is there's not many certified
And
geologists.
how long does this process take?
This process probably, if we engage today, would probably be, 30 to 60 days.
Yeah, I just don't feel like asking
No,
them to
but I
pay
think
It's
that.
we
gonna
have a-
take 30 days for public
I mean,
hearing.
we're not having the public hearing for probably at least 30 days.
I just
So-
think, I hear you on affordable housing. I'm gonna talk about affordable housing all day long. These are not being constructed as, like legally affordable or even sort of intended as workforce housing. A $5,000 geology bill would be $800-ish per lot, I think.
that's the bare minimum from a while ago.
Yeah.
It's only gone up. For sure.
The main point still stands, though. They're not affordable housing.
So my sense is, Angie feels different, but the general consensus of the board is this is useful. And Ms. Day, I mean, I don't want to keep,
No, I just want to give my opinion. Anybody that was to buy a lot in Bridgton that is in the rural neighborhood, the requirement's 1.83 acres. These are all past that 1.83 acres. We wouldn't require, aren't they?
no, they're not.
Yes, they are.
They're 1.84.
They're they're 1.84, which
Right,
feels
but
fairly
The
intentional.
requirement for the rural neighborhood is 1.83 acres. 80,000 square feet is 1.83 acres. So a normal lot for this district is 1.83 acres, and we would not require anybody else buying a house or building a house to have this done. I think it's excessive.
fully understand.
I agree with
But we
Brenda.
have 5 of them being built, one right after in a row, and we have,
Town.
I'm not gonna vote on it,
No,
I'm
I'm
just
not saying
gonna,
that, I just wanted to give my opinion, because most of the people in town don't even have 1.83 acres, because
You're
they're
right.
non-conforming lots in the
Yep.
Doyle neighborhood.
I-
So we,
I-
you know, they're above that.
I understand.
I think.
My suggestion is, it's up to you, but it seems to me it would be useful. Maggie, I'm sorry I interrupted.
No, I just think there's clearly interest from the public in this case. This is sensitive habitat. There's been a lot of change in this area. I think the reality is the developer and the board are accountable to the public, and so I think that's kind of what is shifting some things about this. I hear it all. I think, but I just think that's why this is coming up, at least for me. The concerns are about habitat and water quality, and yeah, I'd have to do a deeper dive into like what information we need and.
Well, it'll just be.
But that's just to set the, like, there's a lot of folks in the room here. People really care. This is a place that people drive by all the time. Like, that's why I think.
Anyone in this room could have bought that lot.
Yeah.
Well, we understand, but they
That was
didn't.
that was
They
on
did-
sale.
Yeah,
That was
so I don't want this to
on
get
it.
too contentious. Anybody could have bought it. Yeah, hold on, folks.
Okay, we cannot speak
Anybody
out
could
of,
have bought it. However, it has been purchased by yourselves or your company, and you're developing it, and it falls under certain guidelines or standards, and this board is just trying to make sure that those standards are adhered to. And that's our job.
Yeah. I'm just wondering if there's an opportunity to maybe have a geologist give a narrative versus the full-blown study. But I don't know. I'd have to engage with a geologist.
I'm gonna leave that up to you.
Okay.
what about calling home or somebody going?
He's not gonna be able to do that.
Oh, okay.
Now, this has to be done by a certified
No, it has to be done
geologist.
by a
I
hydrogeologist.
just have a hard time asking them to do that.
That's okay. It's, Jessica, do you have any comment on this?
Not a well-formed one at the
Okay.
moment, no.
All right? Okay, we're gonna continue. Kathy, do you have anything else?
That's pretty much my list.
Okay. Whew, okay. Most of that was on my list too. Jessica, how about you?
I guess, so if they're not, the lots technically aren't wetlands, but if you're gonna be building on them with the intention to sell them to other people, what's to stop other people from further development
Right.
into these areas? There's nothing to stop that from happening, especially if you're selling it.
So you're talking about the wetlands that are on the site?
Yeah,
Okay.
on the site, and then also just disruption to
And also
other areas.
say that again?
the disruption to like the heron.
Well, there is no disruption.
Yeah,
And we have a
the
letter
area
from
away.
IF&W saying that we will not have any impact on that. We're not impacting any
Is that,
wetlands.
sorry, was that in here? Maybe I missed where it
It
was
didn't come in till the
specifically.
last.
came in
Yeah, it came in
today.
the last minute.
And the
Okay.
abutters, unfortunately, or fortunately for them, they got it before I did, so.
And it specifically states through the vetted professional that
Yeah.
these plans
We
would
have-
not be
And
disruptive.
we have documented that, so we'll take care of that.
Okay.
Yeah, so you're asking, just one comment that I was gonna ask for is, I think it would be very helpful on some sort of map to actually show the measured distance from the closest part of the development to the very edge of that rookery. so that we have the hard and fast evidence of the distance. You've mentioned 1,600 feet, should be able to map that out. I do note there's a little bit of a stream that continues from that boggy area. I don't know if the herons like to go in the stream too, but if we could just make sure we have the actual measurements superimposed on the map. And just full knowledge of where they are, to Jessica's point. So if there's anything that comes down here, although obviously MDIFW has said there's not, but.
And it would exceed the normal 750-foot impact zone anyway, so, I mean, we're comfortable.
And that, that impact zone, that includes like the construction period too, right? Because that's obviously far more disruptive.
Right,
Yeah.
it's based on the time that the chicks are there in the nest, which is spring, early summer. But if you're beyond the 750, you're outside of their impact.
Is it 750 or 600?
I believe it's 750 from U.S. Fish and Wildlife, but I can have that
Okay.
verified. But
So
we're-
if you could
again,
just
we're way beyond that.
superimpose on
Yeah.
the map,
Mhm.
the closest edge of the rookery to the closest edge of the lot line, that distance, and then whatever the spec is for MDIFW, if it's 600 feet, or for Fishers and Wildlife, if it's 750, also superimpose that on the map, and it's very clear cut. Very clear cut. So, okay, Jessica, go ahead, your question about the
That-
wetlands?
That was,
So were you asking whether the wetlands at the back of the site can be disturbed or developed by anybody
so,
else?
yeah, that was the second part of it. Like, so if it's being built and then sold to new owners, they could develop in further,
We
or
would have
no?
a restricted deed,
Okay,
which they would be able to go beyond this zone.
they would not be able
They
to.
would not be able to, that has to remain undisturbed.
So that teal section, they can't go into
They can't
that.
go in here, this is wetlands,
But they can go into that teal
they
zone.
cannot go into this.
They cannot, okay,
So
thank
you
you.
have this much of more than half of the property length is tied up.
So they
in deed
can't,
restrictions.
they can't build a bridge over the wetlands and go to that back area there that's in the green?
That back area in green is an open shrub, swamp area.
Okay,
So this is the area of wetlands in here.
Yeah,
okay,
This is a different type of wetlands, this is an open marshy shrub. This is clearly forested wetland, or like I said,
Okay.
hemlocks and firs. And this is a buffer zone, which is also
Okay.
hemlocks, which, so.
all right,
This is a very thick wooded area.
okay.
and as
So-
you said, they would be restricted
They would be a
deeds.
deed restriction
Deed
that
restriction.
they have to be put in conservation, it could not be disturbed.
Okay,
Okay,
And the same with the back green, the
Yes.
back of that
Yeah.
property
Yeah.
is just
Open,
open,
open natural.
open natural.
okay. Jessica, any other advice, questions?
those are my two questions.
Okay. Maggie?
This seems to be a theme for me. I just have questions about the lot shape, because on various tax maps and various maps within this, it shows different things and different shapes. So this lot down here.
Transfers of property which would
Okay.
not be reflective. This has been sold to an abutter.
Okay.
This is in the process of being transferred, so that's why you're seeing.
So that other like chunk
Yes,
is
it's
now,
been
okay.
transferred, and it probably has not reflected in the assessors yet.
Okay, great, that's helpful. This is like, because we're throwing out ideas, just thinking about how the back of those lots cannot be developed, and I know these barely meet the minimum lot size for the rural neighborhood, so maybe there's nothing we can do. But in a perfect world, it would be really cool if the back half of those, considering that they're wetlands, considering that it abuts IF&W habitat, and there's other conserved land, I know, just on the other side of that square lot that was taken off. If it could be put into conservation, I don't know if IF&W would want it. I know that's probably not an
Well, it could be
option.
put in a private conservation.
Yeah,
The only difference would be, and I don't think even the IF&W parcel necessarily is open to the public. I think they just own it. But it
Yeah.
could- the intent is the same, whether it's
Sure.
IF&W or we own it, that's in a no disturb conservation type easement that cannot be touched.
sure. If we're talking about affordability, if that is your goal, then that would, in theory, make the lots cheaper as well, if there's less land in them.
Well, they have to have a minimal of.
I know. I
But
have lots of thoughts
the thing would be
on
is that
minimum lot
conservation
sizes.
easement would be overriding the ownership, so whether it's in ownership
Yeah.
or whether it's in a, because if you have that, it would have to be a homeowners association that would have to own that conservation piece if it was all by itself, which is not what we want to do.
Yeah, I'm just offering, like, a restructure could meet a lot of various goals, but I understand that might not
Yeah,
happen.
You
I'm
might
just-
want to investigate it in case it does relieve some costs somehow.
I don't think I really understand.
I don't either.
Could you talk about
So, we have minimum lot sizes, so this may not
Right.
be a possibility. I could share my thoughts on minimum lot sizes, but I will save that for another day. But I understand that no development can happen, it's gonna be deed restricted. But in theory, it would make the lots more affordable if they were smaller, and that area that is of critical natural resource importance, considering again that it directly abuts land owned by IF&W. Just thinking about habitat corridors and connectivity, that's where my mind goes.
I don't think making the lots smaller would make them more affordable. It would make them more affordable if we get more lots out of the original parcel. But at this point,
I think, can I try this?
Sure.
I think what you're saying.
I may not be understanding your property.
Yeah, no, so, again, this is something to think about. So these lots go all the way back here,
Yeah.
according to this,
Yep.
okay? So they go this full length here. But the building envelopes and required area to build is less than half of that. And I think what Maggie is saying, and this is your stormwater buffer, so these are 1.84 acres, that includes this whole area, correct? Okay, I think and the requirement for subdivision is 40,000 square feet of buildable area, which you have in here, okay, based on your calculations. So I think what Maggie's saying is, could you take this area back here, put it in conservation, which is gonna move these lots to, I don't know, 1.5, 1.2, and will that then affect your costing in any way, or pricing? So I'm not saying answer it today, I'm just saying something to think about.
Yeah, like I started with,
That wouldn't
It's just an
that
idea.
wouldn't really let us sell it for anything. I
Feedback.
could talk to Dad. It's,
I don't think it'd have any impact because whether
yeah,
it's,
They're not
either
the
building.
way,
lot size is
they
not
can't
the
touch it.
cost
Yeah,
prohibitive.
so why don't we, just in the interest of time,
Yeah.
maybe just, it's a suggestion that might be helpful.
it's just, there's a network of conservation, or the beginnings of a network of conservation land in that area, clearly important natural resources, and so
And
my
I-
mind is always going to,
And it
how
may
can
be
you
an
connect
opportunity
those?
that they could acquire an easement for the rights of that, which is the same effect as ownership.
Yeah, yeah, I think that's all I had.
Again, this is
This
to
is,
have a productive public hearing, so we can start the review. How about you?
Oh, I spoke about the LEA letter, just make sure you guys check that out and do what they're asking, if you
Yeah.
can.
And we did, I believe Mark did talk to Colin, and Colin was all set, even though he wasn't required to put that in writing, so.
So,
Okay.
my comment, a couple quick comments is.
Royce has
oops,
something,
I'm
sorry.
sorry.
it's my understanding the LEA doesn't really have much authority in the town. What authority do they have in the structure of the town?
They don't have the authority in terms of determining whether something meets the standards, but this board considers their advice extremely useful due to their expertise and their mission. And we think of them as a little bit of an overall expert when it comes to protection of waters and wetlands. So this board does show deference to his suggestions and our experiences. He doesn't nitpick.
Right.
And I think the fact that he was included before we had the letter from IF&W, so clearly IF&W are the actual experts when it
Right.
comes to the bird habitat in this area.
Okay.
Or they're the ones with the legal authority. I think we have
Some.
multiple experts, I
Yes,
just think
some,
that
it's shared
that's-
through a lot of agencies.
Yeah.
Angie?
No, I don't have anything else.
Okay, I think, I would like to understand a little bit more on some of these items, and you don't have to explain now. Just on traffic, you have a general statement, it won't add to traffic. I'd least like to know whether there's any sight distance concerns. And in terms of the letters that were sent to Maine Natural Resources, Historic Preservation, MDIFW, the letters say that the project is 12.65 acres, or the parcel is 12.65
Yeah.
acres, and the application says it's 9.61 acres.
That's because of the transfer of that property to the abutter.
Okay.
It happened before those letters went out, but that should have they look at the property on the GIS map, they don't look at the actual acreage, so they look
Okay,
at
so they look
proximity
at
of the lot.
They look at those lot lines. Excuse me. So the Maine Natural Areas Program highlighted the small
Whirling begonia,
world begonia.
very common.
And my question is, since you did a wetlands evaluation in September, is there a survey for those that might have been done and is available?
No, that would have to be done by a biologist, and that's a common response to almost all projects we do in this Lakes Region area. That's that and the bats, as you will see in that letter as
Small
well.
ear.
Yeah.
Are the common that they.
That's the first time I've really noted they've
Oh,
made
we
a
see it.
strong recommendation
Yeah,
on
we've seen
the.
it quite a bit, but
So-
again, those are in the wetlands, so if we predominantly stay out of the wetlands, we won't be impacting
Okay, so you
those.
might want to comment further on that based on their recommendation. I usually don't, I know they usually say, this is map what's done there, it may not have everything, but they seem to specifically call out this flower. And I see you still need a letter from Maine Historic Preservation Commission. We talked about the wetland survey. I didn't see anything on, I did see a sentence on financial capacity. I think it would be useful to actually either have a letter from the bank or something that meets what we've typically asked for financial capacity. And I mentioned the town standards in section 8.
7.
7, excuse me, sorry about that. I talked about the blue heron distances. I would just recommend anything that's been requested by any of by MDIFW to make sure that all of that is in our application, all the
Correspondence.
correspondence and anything that's been provided to them, drawings, so forth and so on. And last but not least, there's a cricket in the room, it sounds like.
Cold cricket.
It would be good if you could comment, including the location of the Big Night Salamander crossing. That was a comment by abutters. That is a pretty big deal, preserving that species or that type of wildlife. It wasn't pointed out by MDIFW or any of the others, but I think we all know what happens on Middle Ridge Road in April. And so there was comments about where that is located, I think if you speak to LEA, or one of the other, I think LEA is where I'd start with. They can tell you precisely where that crossing is.
I can tell you.
It's real close to Dugway Road.
I can tell you if you want.
I would,
It's fine.
what I would like is to know where it is
Okay.
and have some assurance that we're not gonna have salamanders disappear. Oh,
I'm with LEA.
Oh, sorry.
No, that's okay.
Would you like to go to the mic? So I heard the concerns, I know that happens every year, I know it's really critical for these things to thrive, just wanna make sure they do, that's all. And you're close to it. Might not be a problem, but.
Yeah, I'm Lauren Van Bibber with LEA. It is, the Big Night Crossing is at Dugway. I can get a little map together and put the actual specific spot of that crossing. We used to do Big Night Crossings events. We stopped doing that because people have to get to that spot to help with that and to observe that. And that was creating more harm doing that. So we have stopped doing that, and I think that's just to the point of how valuable those species are. But we would be happy to put together a map of the specific
That would
spot
be-
where we have
that-
those
That would be great
events.
if you could provide that to Mr.
Absolutely.
Seymour and Mr. Lopez. And I think that we talked about everything else that would be useful.
So now we have two outstanding items, date of site walk and public hearing.
Right, so, sounded like do the public hearing, sounded like the public hearing possibilities were Monday, March 2nd, which is the day before our March 3rd meeting, which is pretty full, or March 3rd, would make it a fuller meeting.
Or 17th.
Or March 17th, which is the third Tuesday, which normally we would have a workshop, but for applications, we would bump that.
It's also St. Patrick's Day.
It
That
is
matters
also St.
today.
Patrick's Day.
I was asking the young gentleman over here what his father's preference
I
was.
would like to try and avoid Monday, but I understand there's a few applications that have been penciled in for March that unless they can be moved, I'm just worried about it being a very long meeting. So it's,
So you have one on the 2nd and the 3rd?
well, if we do the public hearing on the 2nd, we would have a meeting on the 2nd, followed by a meeting on the 3rd. So where the board has had a lot of these special meetings lately, Tuesdays are our typical meeting days, same for our staff, and I think it's important that most or all of the board is here, and Tuesdays usually make sure that that happens. So thus the March 17th suggestion.
If we did it on the 3rd, we'd have to move Sweden buildings off.
Mondays are hard. Mondays are
I
hard.
don't- Yeah, I don't
Yeah, we
like
need
the
more
meetings.
meetings.
Mondays are just my busiest day, and people call out.
Let's do this, as much as I hate, yeah, I think their preference is to get this one sooner, so I think we'd like to do this the 2nd, and then we'll have to deal with the repercussions of our other.
Be the 3rd,
You mean the
the March
3rd?
The 3rd, yeah.
Let's do
We'll have
it
to deal
the
with
3rd.
And we'll deal with the repercussions on his other projects, which Mr. Lopez has control over, so.
So there's two projects that you had earmarked for March that haven't been turned in yet, right, Royce?
Yep.
I'd like to, well, first off, thank you for doing extra meetings. Is it possible to do an extra one this month? I mean, we're only on.
We already did?
We already have, we already
Yeah,
have.
we are- we are
already have an
packed
extra one
this
this month, yeah. We
did one yesterday. Yeah. We've been
We
here a
already have
lot.
an extra one this month,
Alright,
which
well,
is
I
on the
appreciate-
19th.
I appreciate the board doing extra meetings.
Yeah, we try to do what we can, but you know, this is important, a lot of people are interested, it's really important to have as full a board as possible.
We really wouldn't have time to notice if we did it this month anyway.
Right.
We don't have time to get it in the paper.
So,
Yeah, that's right.
so we're gonna shoot for March 3rd, and we're gonna drop some things off the agenda, okay?
Site walk?
Okay, so so for the site walk, my only limitation is next week. I will be away and not in this state, so,
I could do any days except Monday.
but we could certainly have until March 3rd, so I wouldn't suggest that we do it this week, give time for the applicant to stake out the lots in the wetlands area and all of that. Let me look at a calendar here. What about Tuesday? So we could do Tuesday the 17th and do it prior to our 5 o'clock workshop,
I
or,
thought we
We
weren't
canceled.
having that workshop.
We moved it to the 19th.
19th, the workshop?
oh, that's right, we
Could we
have
do it
something,
on
yeah,
the
that's right, we moved
Wednesday or
that to the
Thursday?
19th, so
Could we do the 18th or 19th?
the 18th, how does the 18th or 19th work for people?
If it's in the morning, I'm good, but,
In the morning?
yeah,
Well-
on a Wednesday.
We have to advertise
Okay, so you need 2 weeks for that.
So that'd take us to the 17th of February.
Is the 19th doable? That's a Friday. No, that's a
That's a Thursday.
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 It's exactly 7 days, so
That's not doable? So we have to kick to the next week. Okay, so take your pick of days on the 23rd. What's your pleasure?
I could do the 25th in the morning, anytime the 26th.
So Angie's mentioning the 25th and the 26th. There's also a Tuesday in there, which is the 24th.
It's been quite a while since we've had quite the working board.
Yeah.
My schedule is
Yeah.
not
I know it is,
ideal.
girl.
You're not here that
But
week.
if I can't be there, it is what it is.
So Kathy, how about you?
I'm available all the week of the 23rd.
And Jessica, how about you?
I better be in Mexico.
All right.
Well, wait a minute, that's not fair.
Let's shoot
all
for
about
the
Be the
26th.
snow, you're on sand beaches.
Thursday
I
the
don't know.
26th?
Yeah, say 10 a.m.
Thursday the 26th. There'll be at least 3 of us.
I'm
We'll check with Erica.
potentially
If we did it in the morning, would that work?
I just have some pending meetings, but I can
All right.
just set it.
I don't
I'll-
want to wring your arm too much, but if.
Will Ralph be back by then?
So the 26th, do we want to do it at 9 or 10 a.m.?
Let's say 10 a.m.
10 a.m.?
Who knows, maybe the snow will melt a little bit.
Or we'll have more.
We are,
You'll be able to see all the,
Yeah,
you'll be able to walk out back, there's a skidder trail.
Okay, that's what that cut is? Yeah,
Yep.
so I think we want to be able to walk the length of it and see where the borders are to the property and that sort of thing.
Yeah, you should be able to see that fine.
That would be great.
awesome.
Okay, anything else? Any questions? Okay, so for the public, you've heard March 3rd for the public hearing and the 26th at 10 a.m. for the site walk. Anything
I'd
else?
like, I'd like to, sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt.
Go ahead.
I guess I'm a little put off by the salamanders. I'm not sure do you want a traffic study?
No, I don't want a traffic study.
No, we just
what
want to
are we
make sure
looking
you're
for?
not going to be running them over.
What I want to know is the general location of that crossing, so that, or the specific location, because of comments made, I would rather have a piece of evidence from LEA appears to be extremely knowledgeable on exactly where that
Didn't
crossing
she
is.
say they're not doing the
There's-
events anymore?
There's like
No, but they
a few
still-
a few
So they're on
evenings where
either
there's
side?
a big migration,
Okay.
and so you
I
just
can
want to be
speak to it,
conscious
but-
of that
What's that?
migration, when it is and where it is.
Okay, I mean, maybe we could close the road or something for those few days.
Yeah, you
Yeah,
can work with
I mean,
LEA.
I'm not asking for that, I just want verification of where
Yeah,
it
I mean,
is. So we're not making assumptions,
Okay,
that's all.
was your name Lauren? Could you like point to it? Would she be able to just point to it on the map? Or does it have to be?
She'll provide it to you.
Okay, all right, you'll send that to Mr. Seymour?
I mean,
Okay.
it sounds like they don't help with the crossing anymore, so it's more about.
Is that, am I correct in saying that? Is that what?
We used to host, like an event to help them, the salamanders cross. But people had to get to the site, and so it was.
So
kind of
I
defeating
don't see it as an issue, I think it's
Yeah,
really,
just to put the abutters at
it's
ease.
really just for clarification, so we don't have any
Lots of walkers.
incorrect assumptions.
Yeah, okay, fair enough.
Thank you.
about the upcoming meeting from a public perspective.
Could you go to the mic, please? Name and address.
You have to go to the podium.
Nope, sorry.
Brogan, not Horton anymore, Howard, resident Middle Ridge Road, we're the big farm chunk right across the street. I had a general question. Is the public allowed to pay for a third-party environmental survey? Obviously, we can't get access to the property because it's owned by Mr. Lopez.
Yeah, there's nothing to
but
stop
I feel
you
like,
from,
you know, if
there's
people were
nothing to
interested-
stop you from providing evidence to the board.
Okay, I'm
Just-
not sure we can do that before the next meeting, but we're certainly going to try. But if we get one underway, can he submit partial findings, before?
Sure. I would just ask that you get these in, I mean, we asked the
Before the
applicant to
day
get
of.
the information in
Yes,
12 days
unfortunately,
in
the lawyer only
advance of
got
the
back to
meeting.
us today, so
So
that's
that
why
only
that
gives
was.
a couple of weeks, but you're welcome to turn in any additional evidence.
Okay, perfect, thank you.
And the applicant will get that evidence as well.
Hiring our own geologist or hiring our own environmentalist to do a survey, a third-party independent survey.
Okay. Do you wanna do the geohydro survey?
I mean, considering $4,000 and you're asking almost
Okay.
$400,000 per lot, it's probably not too much to do considering the area. But, obviously that's for another meeting, but I'm just
Yeah.
curious if the
I mean-
public got together
Now, you
and
can, the
didn't
public
care
can
enough
turn
if we
in
did-
any evidence they wish to turn in. The board will evaluate relevant evidence only, relevant to the standards. So just keep that in mind. So I think that's it, unless there's any other procedural questions. All set?
Oh, thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. It's a little bit longer than normal for what's needed for a public hearing, but there you have it. Okay. Next on the agenda is South High subdivision, Grinnell. They do have standing. Notice has been sent. Does anybody feel they need to recuse themselves? Do we feel the application is complete? This is for a lot split. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm waiting to listen to the applicant because I can't quite figure out.
We can't figure it
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
I can't either.
I don't understand it.
So,
This is
yeah, could you,
220.
so one thing that's very unclear to me, and we really should declare it complete or incomplete, but I don't think I understand exactly what's being done to which lots, where the splits are, and so could you just give us an overview, name
Just one
and
sec,
name, please?
while he's speaking, just keep comments to yourself, just please, because I've heard some comments muddled under breaths, and we're trying to hear, and
Yeah, good point, Andrew.
thank you.
Okay, so I am Jeff Promis, professional land surveyor with Sebago Technics, representing Mark Lopez and Royce Lopez tonight. Real quick, further clarification, this is the focus area for the
Okay,
lot,
I
for
was
the minor
wondering that.
subdivision, right here.
Okay,
The parent parcel was divided by the house lot that got split right here. So therefore, when Mr. Grinnell sold his house lot, the remaining land by state law was still considered one lot, even though clearly looking at it is 1, 2, 3. But state law states that this is still remaining land being one lot, remaining land of Grinnell, Mr. Grinnell.
So Grinnell's lot
It
did not
was-
include those three kind of, that top portion?
It includes everything back here before he split it up. It included everything.
Okay.
Okay, so at one time, that was all one big lot.
Just recently.
Gotcha, okay, I understand now.
And then what did he split off?
He
The bottom.
split off the house, the existing farmhouse, and then almost immediately sold it. He realized he might have created a mistake because he wanted to sell this land to the north and the south. So now Mr. Lopez has interest in this lot here, so that's why we're trying to pass it through the minor subdivision process to avoid triggering a legal subdivision when a transaction occurs, or the conveyance occurs. So Mr. Lopez has a purchase and sales agreement.
Hey, you
Sure.
guys,
Hey, guys,
can you go in the back or go in the cubicle area there, or maybe back in that office back there and just close the door?
Outside.
yeah,
Okay.
I mean, it's getting late.
Thank you.
Well, that's
wanted just to know where it is.
Yeah, so, Mr. Lopez has a purchase and sales agreement with Grinnell, the current owner, showing title and interest in this property. So therefore, this is basically a corrective measure for, to create a third lot with the remaining land on the south being that small portion of land, which is 1.84 acres. So this is more of a routine process. The land to the north, the large remaining land, still will be retained by Mr. Grinnell, and it will not be encompassed by this one lot subdivision.
So,
Okay,
Mr.
go
Lopez
ahead.
is just wanting to buy that one lot at the bottom.
Right. And
That's it.
if he gets that land conveyed to him, it will trigger a violation, the way it stands right now.
Okay,
Okay, so, and how large is that lot?
1.84 acres.
1.84 acres, 2 acres. In other words, exactly 2 acres. All right. Ms. Day? Do you have any comments on legality, whatnot, before we,
No,
okay,
no, what he's saying makes sense.
okay. So now that we understand what this is, do we feel the application is complete, given the context? The lot does end up being a minimum of 1 acre, and it has the appropriate frontage. Here's a subdivision application. I guess the only thing I can think of is the appraisal. I mean, I was thinking about whether the land's suitable for development and all of that, but really, if Mr. Lopez is purchasing it, he's
already figured that out.
he's already come to whatever conclusion he needs to come to, so I don't, and if he decides to build something on that one lot, then it's gonna come under either site plan review or residential review, correct? Or if he does a 3-story apartment, it will come under subdivision review. We'll have to go back through all of those standards, so.
But what were you talking about when you said if Mr. Lopez purchases that, it's in violation? or-
The way it stands right now.
What kind of violation?
It would be an illegal subdivision.
Okay.
Yeah, it would be an illegal transfer.
Got you.
Split off. Of property. So normally I would ask for narrative and stuff, but I'm not sure that that's, now that we have the explanation, to me, this application is complete. I'm not sure anything else is needed.
No. I agree.
Anything that's done to the land is going to come under future review.
Yep.
Is the board, Kathy?
I just have one correction that you might want to make on on page 20 out of your 35, the septic application, it indicates a rocky knoll road, which I don't think this is on.
We did notice that,
Yeah,
thank
that's
you.
in Denmark.
So, yeah. Other than that,
Any other questions?
Nope, I understand now. I was so confused.
I thought, I know what you're trying to do is be legal, but I didn't understand what was going to who. So, and exactly what was being retained. I would just suggest on the final subdivision plan, if there's a way to denote that more clearly, that would be very helpful.
Yeah, it is outlined in the very last note, which I think is note 10.
Yeah, if you can,
I can't see that.
those will have lot numbers, new lot numbers, correct?
How does the town look at it right now on the tax
Yeah.
map? It shows that it's 3 different lots. I think we're just following the same format.
We probably already have map and lots from the last split, well, the last.
So just,
lot. So when the assessor gets the deed for that, he would supply new map and lot numbers.
okay. So, if there are existing map and lot numbers for all three of, I do remember reading the notes, but I was still confused. So if that could be clarified on the notes and/or the maps, and then if things ever change with the lots, there'll be a clear connection.
If we don't have them anywhere, I can get them.
Okay,
I frequently have to do that when subdivisions are done because they're not on the tax maps, and I have to give them driveway and addresses, so I need map and lots, so I can reach out to the assessor to get them.
okay. All right. I see members of the public here. Normally, this is
I
pretty
just wanna-
straightforward, but if you have a question, feel free to
I
ask.
just want to see like right where it is, I mean, we get this little thing here, I mean, I
Yeah.
have to use my camera to, is it bigger on there? No, but I mean like this is what I'm interested in, this map, to show like, this is our development, Willowbrook. So this is the only lot that you're developing, this little piece right here.
Would you like me to answer?
Yes,
Somewhere.
please.
Yes, it is. It is. It's just a small piece right
So
there.
if you could, do you have that map up here? So-
That's it, yep.
Okay.
It's right there. It's this same
I can
shape
bring
that
it.
you see in there is this
So this,
shape on the
this
south.
house one, you're not even, do you own that one?
No.
We were representing the agent, but no, that will be remaining land of the current owner, and that is not for sale.
Okay, so just this little 2 acres right here.
Exactly.
Correct.
Yep.
Yeah, and so that's, I know there's a road that goes down there, a little driveway.
I know there's a snowmobile trail. I'm not sure if that's what you mean.
I don't know, so that's why I can't tell from here. But I know there's a duplex that's down in here. Maybe that's it.
That's in the subdivision for cottages at Willowbrook.
Yeah.
That right away
Yeah.
that you're talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah.
That would,
I mean, but I'm just trying to find it on
Not on
here.
that property.
No, but does it buffer that property?
It would be in front of it, I believe.
yeah.
Yeah.
The map you see up there, which is done by a licensed or certified land surveyor, would show within that lot any features that are required, like streams, like buildings, like stone walls. So, to me, it doesn't look like there's anything but a fairly clean lot there.
There's a vacant lot. There's a small shed,
Yeah,
shack or shed.
yeah.
And it indicates a walking trail or
Yeah.
maybe it's a snowmobile trail or something.
Overall, it's undeveloped.
But it's woods.
Right.
You see it? You live in Phil?
Yeah, I see the walking path. So just in case, there is a walking path shown on the map. I don't know if the public has concerns, but I would just say that whoever owns that lot, we'll have to talk to the future owner about access to that walking path.
Yeah, I don't know
So, because unless that's some sort of historic feature or other thing, it's not, okay. So,
Yeah, the duplex.
are you,
So they're not building on this? No.
not at this point, no.
So I can show you just to give you an idea. This is the road right here, and this is the lot that they're talking about.
This one right here, the green,
That's
saying stuff under her breath all that long.
So,
Oh, wait,
Yeah,
that's a.
see, there's the road
Oh, yeah.
there,
there's the road.
and this is the lot here.
Correct.
Yeah.
These are really in the back. It's a area back there.
Yeah, there's the duplex.
See the little
Okay,
cutout
so,
right
Yeah.
All right.
I think we need to,
Yeah, I just, there's map.
gotta get to the next things here.
We don't know yet. We need to get this going first.
So I'd propose that we deliberate now, and I propose this should be
Complete.
Pretty easy.
quite, so the application we've deemed complete, not having a public hearing or a site walk. So I'm gonna go through the statutory review criteria. Please stop me if you have concerns, but again, this is just a lot split. Anything that's gonna be built will have to go through review. So I think most of these do not apply. Pollution, sufficient water, municipal water supply, erosion, traffic, sewage disposal, solid waste disposal, aesthetic cultural and natural values, comprehensive plan, financial and technical capacity, he's obviously buying a lot, surface waters, groundwater, floodplains, freshwater wetlands, farmland, river, stream, or brook, stormwater, spaghetti lots, lake phosphorus concentration, impact on adjoining municipality, land subject to liquidation harvesting, that's that. I would say until something is developed on that land, that those basically don't apply. Same thing with section B7, additional review criteria, phosphorus export, relationship to community services, retention of proposed public sites and open spaces, preservation of natural and historic features. There's nothing shown on the map that is a natural or historic feature. Traffic impact, shoreline zoning, easement for drainage ways. If there are any easements, they should be represented on the final subdivision plan. I didn't note any, but utilities, required improvements, road or homeowners association, minimum lot size and frontage, it has to be 40,000 square feet, it is. Frontage has to be 100 feet, it is. Permanent monuments must be set, so I would trust that monuments will be set, if they haven't already.
What does that mean?
It means markers for where the lots are, where the edges of the lots are.
Yeah, okay.
There's no road signs, there's no roads. There's no non-conforming roads, no sidewalks, it hasn't been developed. Water supply, fire protection, sewage disposal, all depend on the structure. Surface drainage, or depend on development, same comment. Long-term maintenance plan, same comment. Buffers. I would just ask that since it is now a subdivision, that the 15-foot buffer is noted on the final map. And so that buffer is kind of odd, it may not exist here anymore. But it has to be, this is being retained, right? So
Correct.
you don't have control over that, do you?
Correct.
No. So I think it just has to be here, well, here. Throw it on the map. Wait, no, I'm sorry. No, just here.
Because it's just split on the
This-
lot.
Well, because the perimeter is all the way around.
Yeah, I have control of
So I think you just, this is, the only part is perimeter that you have control over, correct? And then this is defined by setback, but that's, okay. So if you could please show that on the plan. So with those notations that I've just brought up, clearly identifying the lots, noting the buffer, I think those were the main ones. I know you wrote everything down, so if I missed some. Anyway, I would accept a motion to tentatively approve the subdivision plan with no conditions, just that the requests for documentation are met when we find out the sign.
So moved.
Moved by Ms. Cook, seconded by Ms. DiPietro. Any comments? All in favor? 5-0. You're all set.
Until you go
Until-
to build, right, then you come back?
There will likely be another phase of this.
Yeah, but that will depend on what they build. If they're just building a house, they'll just come to code enforcement.
Right.
If they're doing an apartment building or something like that, they'll come back to it.
Okay, is there any way I could just get a copy of that thing that you showed us? That'd be great.
Can you email me?
Yep.
Okay, so if you guys could connect after the meeting, that would be great. Next on the agenda is other. I guess other right now is, we have a public hearing on
Yeah,
March
and a
3rd.
site walk.
And a site walk on the 20, did we say the 25th?
The 26th at 10 a.m. for the site walk, and then the public hearing, we're gonna do March 3rd.
Right. Does anybody else, oh, and just a reminder, February 19th,
Yes.
Yeah.
Mocha Housing Group will be here, as will other towns. So it would be really good if you could come to that.
No, I feel sad to
I
miss
will,
that.
if you can remind me, my husband has shoulder surgery that day.
We're good, at
But
least?
it's in the morning, and it's endoscopic, so it's outpatient.
Okay.
So if you remind me, I will absolutely.
I don't even know.
Okay, does anybody have anything else that they want to bring up tonight?
I just want to bring up in general, it was so great to have a room full of people, and I think there's clearly an interest in better understanding these processes, and I think, I don't know whose responsibility it is,
Yeah.
but I think a collaborative responsibility of all town boards and committees and staff to like make those processes
Right.
more
And
transparent
I
and
would-
clear, and it would help, I think, save people time, and like I think there's things we can do to better communicate how to participate, when to do so, what to expect,
Yeah.
and it's just
But maybe there's a future workshop in there
maybe there's a
somewhere.
future
Or
something, yeah,
Yeah.
where folks can just learn more about.
Yeah, but we're kind of limited as how far we can go
Yeah.
and, I just go to
You
the
said the
basics,
19th,
but-
Mocha's gonna be here?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's a good
But it's
point.
great to like have people in the room, and I want to support their participation, and I think just
Yeah, I-
information and making sure like posting, I would love to see the town post postings and notices on Facebook, because for better or for worse, that's where people get their
You're not
information. I know we put it in the newspaper and the email list, but I'm just hearing again and again, folks not really feeling like they know what's going on.
Okay,
So,
I took down that last.
And I'd still like to
Facebook
see some
postings.
affordable housing going up somewhere.
Yeah.
They all say they're affordable, but that's not affordable.
yeah.
All right,
I get it, but.
Ms. Day,
No, I said motion to adjourn.
Oh, yes, I second that.
motion to adjourn, moved by Ms. Cook. Is there a second?
Brenda.
By Maggie.
A third of
All in favor, please raise your hand. No debate allowed.
our favorite.
No debate allowed.
No, it's not. Have a good evening.